Thank you so much for staying tuned, and a very warm welcome back to our final segment as we wind down the discussion on climate resilience in Uganda. Now, Goal 6 of the UN General Assembly on New Sustainable Development Goals adopted in 2016 requires countries to ensure the availability and sustainability, sustainable management of water and sanitation for all by 2030. Now, the goal is premised on the fact that water scarcity or availability determines the quality of life. And already, according to the world body, more than 40% of people globally do not have access to clean water, yet more stress is being exerted on the available water due to the rising temperatures, which evaporate most of it in the atmosphere. Now, Dr. Henry, all this comes to show us how important it is for us, first of all, to use our scarce resources in Uganda very carefully. And of course, talking about water, which you know very well right now from the Water Governance Institute perspective. But talk about responsibility, personal responsibility, as per a Ugandan watching us right now, or anyone from all over the world, in as far as climate change is concerned. Because much as this is a global problem, or we can put it to the country, it still comes down to basic individuals, one-on-one interactions, and what people are doing at home that could actually sabotage the entire global plan. What advice would you have for any Ugandan watching right now if they wanted to be part of a drive to stop climate change?
Okay, I'll answer that question this way. I'll start on the individual in the home. Okay? Do you know how much water you use on a daily basis?
To flush and to
Have you ever bothered to measure, to compute the amount of water you use on a daily basis?
Not really.
Because it doesn't seem important. Why? Because you take it for granted. The water is there, I can use it the way I want. The water is not going to be there for you always and forever.
In fact, in school, doctor, we used to open the taps all the way and say, we paid our money.
Yes.
You know, this is
and you let it run.
very crazy.
Yes?
Yes.
When you're brushing your teeth, how do you operate? Do you brush your mouth and while the tap is running? Or you open, put in the brush, get the water that you need, close, and then you brush. Then afterwards, when you want to clean up your toothbrush, you open up the tap, or you open up the tap, let the water running, and you can, the water is waiting for you, it's running, waiting for you to finish, to finish brushing your teeth, then you can now, those 6 seconds of water running through, or 1 minute of water running through the pipe, is water wasted. So can we begin, pour water on the brush, close it, brush your teeth, put it back, wash your brush, close, put it in your glass to hold your toothbrush. That's personal behavior. Okay? How many liters of water do you use to bathe? I guess the traditional basin, which is about 15 liters of water. Do you need 15 liters of water to bathe?
I don't know, maybe a little bit.
When you're coming to work?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. For the guys who enjoy the swimming pool,
shower,
or the bathtub, that's a luxury. Yeah? You can have it. It's okay. Yeah? But remember that you're wasting the water, and your bill is also going high. Okay, you may have your own water system at home, maybe a shallow well, a borehole, and depending on that, still, that water that is in the ground is being recharged in the ground because of the forest and vegetation cover that you have up here. So we need to change our individuals self, the way we use water. At Water Governance Institute, when we are computing for the water utility in the house, we use 40 liters per person. That's our computation. So when I'm designing any water storage, rainwater harvesting system, or the economics for your home, to measure the cost of water in your home and how you can control the cost, we use that rate. So, and I think probably the Ministry of Water that uses the same ratio of 20 liters per person. So if you have 5 people and they're staying in a home constantly, they will use that water specifically to bathe themselves, yeah, and wash their clothes. That's how we compute it. Now, many of our toilets, because it is now fashionable to go into a flush toilet, right? Many of our flush toilets, they have cisterns of 10 liters. So you go there, you piss, you flush 10
liters of water. Just on
you go there and do the big one,
Yes.
you flush 10 liters of water.
Yeah.
Now, on average, you might go to the toilet, if you're staying at home, 4 to 5 times in a day to piss.
Yeah.
You might go to the toilet 2 times or 3 times before the close of the day. So if you took 4 times to piss and say 3 times to do the big one, then you have 7 times you're going to the toilet to flush. So 70 liters are being flushed every time you go to the toilet.
Yeah. Wow.
See? We never think about it. I guess if there were people listening to me and we say, take a poll right now, you would see how many people do that.
Absolutely.
Can we begin the culture of, it's okay to piss into the toilet before flushing until it begins to get yellowish, then you flush it. Yeah? So can we begin to have that culture? Now that's from the individual person, as an individual, and as a home. But when it comes to now community level, is go back to say capture the water from the rain, the flood, so that we have water to use at home at no cost, and also use that rainwater harvested for irrigation, growing back whatever backyard farming we want, and even for farming. So rainwater harvesting needs to come back into a policy and make it. I know somebody may not want it because they want to promote National Water and Sewerage Corporation to do business, but let's get real. National Water and Sewerage Corporation will never serve every household in this country with a growing population, because the population is growing faster than they can extend their pipeline. Yeah, but people need to become resilient now, not tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
National Water can continue to do business in the urban areas with the establishments like offices and hotels, right? So when it comes to catchment level now, we are doing catchment management plans. For example, Uganda is already zoned into 4 catchment zones, and by the all the water in Uganda drains into the River Nile. All the water in Uganda drains into the River Nile, and so we export water to Egypt.
Yes.
Okay? We need to have integrated water resources management frameworks that come from catchment level to the household. So we have integrated system so that even at the household level, water is used in one system and into more than one system, especially for the people who are doing farming.
Yes.
Because you can have water come from a crop garden or something, if it's in the hydroponics or whatever, and it goes into a fish project, or from a fish project to the garden. Okay? So we attempt some kind of integrated water resources use at household level. Yeah? So that's something we need to do. Then at catchment also, the government of Uganda has spent quite a lot of money in sinking boreholes, many of which have become non-functional. Why? Because the water table has dropped. Why has the water table dropped? Because we've cut the forest up there. Can we go back and do replanting so that and doing some bench terraces to capture the water into the ground and raise up the water table? So once you need about this is a project we did with the NAM Center I was talking about, and the interventions were done in India. Within 1.5 years, the boreholes that had stopped functioning, once we started doing the bench terraces, digging pits up there, and planting forest to stop the water running down, but to percolate into the ground, within 1.5 years, all the boreholes that had become non-functional in the valley became functional. So you need to recover. If the problem is not the depth of digging the borehole, but more about the water table dropping that you can reverse.
Yeah.
So you have an excuse.
Yeah. Wow, Doctor, how about talking about the wetlands and encroachment on reserved areas? Because currently we have seen people pouring soil into the lakes, like Lake Victoria. I personally have been to Luzira, and I've seen how people are pouring soil into the lake, and they're trying to push the lake away. And this is not only happening for the lakes, but wetlands is even worse because they have a little less water. And it takes just a few piles of soil, and then you have a whole city started on a wetland. What can we do in this area? How do we take people out of the swamp and then we reclaim the swamp, or we actually try to maintain those areas as residential areas and keep the water out? How can we protect the vegetation, the water in those reserved areas, and also the forest?
So let's do the wetland thing. The wetlands in Uganda act as sponges. They hold water. And they hold water not only they also clean the water. So they act as sponges and release the water slowly into our lake system. When you remove the wetland, you cause the water which is coming from the urban centers or whatever, every time you have a flood, to flood into the lake with all the silt and all the dirt and all the pollution. No wonder today, if you fly over Lake Victoria, you will see that it has almost a kilometer radii of greening. Why? Because algae has grown from the pollution. Wetlands that were cleaning the pollutants are no longer there, and so the pollutants are going
getting directly
into the lake. The pollutants are then also killing the fish breeding zones, right?
Yeah.
So no wonder we have less fish catches today.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's the repercussions of damaging and reclaiming the wetlands that are around us. That's not only happening here, it's happening up country also. So the same effects. I said all the water in Uganda drains into River Nile.
River Nile, absolutely.
So it picks up all the pollution and whatever from the whole country and takes it into that system. So you're bound to pollute the whole River Nile system. Now, issues of encroachment. Do you remember the story that appeared in the papers? I think it was 28 billion shillings that was by UETCL that was given to some people in compensation for some land or something.
Yes.
The titles I've looked at are not on land. The titles that have been claimed for are in Lake Victoria. So whoever compensated them made a huge mistake. They used public money to compensate people who created land titles in Lake Victoria.
Yeah.
Lake Victoria is not a Ugandan lake only. It's an East African lake. So any impact you do on it is not only felt here. It's not. It affects the East African members. Lake Victoria is an international body. Okay, so you are violating all those interests. So what you see people offloading into the wetland is not just because of encroachment. People are trying to justify the money they have eaten by actually normalizing the title by land filling.
Yeah.
So next time you come and check on it, you'll find it's land.
Actually land.
So now you're saying people have titles in the lake, which is against the Ugandan law?
Yeah.
No. So that's the activity. We need to stop it.
Yeah.
So whoever is responsible should stop.
Yeah.
Whoever knows has been part of this process should try to reverse it. Yeah. Those who have chopped their money, it's okay, they can chop the money, but they should stop spoiling our lake. Right? Because the next thing is to raise a case against them, our Attorney General, for failing to protect our natural resources under the law. You see?
Yeah. Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Henry, for your time, and thank you so much for those wonderful insights you've shared.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. There you have it. Yes.
I was glad to be hosted here.
There you have it. Thank you so much. Thank you for those of you who are online. Mr. Ivan Wadugembe, thank you so much for tuning in. Sophia, Kathy, and so many others. Thank you for the comments and for liking the show on social media. And today, of course, we've talked widely about climate resilience, and of course, it boils down to your personal responsibility. How much water are you using for that shower? How much are you using to brush your teeth? It goes to that detail that you're doing each and every day in order to save nature, to save Mother Nature. It's a personal responsibility before being a government responsibility.
Correct.
Thank you so much, and I'll catch you next time, same place. Bye for now.
Adios, amigos.
Yes.